Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. Welcome, everybody, to Haymakers and Submissions podcast. My name is Dave Brzezinski Drew, and I'm joined by Michael Mills, the Big Chops. Chops, how you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. My Steelers rolled in to Washington.
Thank you.
Got a big win. Win. Listen, the crazy part was I was shocked. I'm glad we got it, but I was shocked. Rookie, whatever game we needed to win. I'm glad. You guys, though, I turned it off at halftime. Turned your Lions off at halftime.
Oh, mistake.
Turned it off. And I said, grab my shower, hanging out with my wife. She's about to get ready for work the next day, do her thing. And I said, let me check it. So I go turn back. I turn back. There's like 14 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So I watched the entire fourth quarter. And you guys tie it up. Or no, you're down 20. No, I think you tied it up. I think I turned it on right when they tied it up. Okay. I was like, what has happened? He threw 5 interceptions. I just knew it was over.
No, there's something else, man. I was telling friends of mine, obviously off subject a little bit here, but I was telling friends of mine, I've only felt this way 3 times in my life about a team. It was the 84 Tigers, the 89 Pistons, and the 2002 Red Wings. And you just kind of knew. You just kind of had that feeling. Now, it doesn't guarantee anything, but I don't sweat any of their games.
Yeah.
Just like last year, though, in the NFC Championship at halftime, 21-point lead, I'm like, yeah, there's still 30 minutes to go. We ain't celebrating yet. And look what happened.
I will say this, though, Drew. I will say this. I thought for the winning field goal, I thought they would have ran at least one more play, try to get a little closer, because that was still, a 48, 45, something like that yard field goal. It wasn't 50. It was not a chip shot. It was not a chip shot. And part of me was like, in pressure games when it counts, Campbell looks like he's going to go back to his old ways. Because I thought about that for a brief second. I was like, if he doesn't make this field goal, he sat there by the ref for the last 25, 30 seconds to wait to call timeout. They could have ran at least one play just to give it to Swift, just see if he can get you 5-6 more yards just to try to make it closer. And he didn't. Yeah. I'm like, that to me, I'm not saying it's bad clock management because he still got the time to get the kickoff. But I was like, I think you could have got that a little closer, man. A little, because that was not a chip shot. It was not.
No, it wasn't. I mean, even though Bates can kick a 60-yarder in his sleep, he's got that kind of leg. He really does. He's hitting 54 yards in the UFL, which is why we're like, let's get this guy in camp. And I'm glad they did, because he's rock solid, man. Hey, but let's get the Haymakers and Submissions now. We're going to be talking some wrestling to amateur wrestling today.
Like you said, we're combat. We are a combat sports podcast. So tonight we're switching up a little bit. And this is close, man. This is my little cousin, so I'm glad to have him on. It's my little cousin Mario Hutcherson, only 15 years old. He's a 9th grader at Kiski area. He wrestles at 174. He's currently 3rd pound for pound. They don't just get that shit out for free. You got to earn that pound for pound. And he is 4-time Pennsylvania state champ. And there's my cousin Mario and Greg, and he is a Pan Am champion for Team USA. Fellas, appreciate having you on.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Oh, without question. Let me get in this real quick. Now, technically, Drew, like I said, we're family now. Technically, right? My mother and Greg's grandfather were brother and sister. However, his father and my mother were raised like brother and sister. So much, real quick to the point. I'm young, 22, 3, 25 years. I'm young. Had an accident where somebody ran through literally ran a truck through my house, my parents' house.
Oh, geez.
The street is blocked off. Everything is blocked off. Cops there, everything. I can hear I call him Unc. I can hear him, but I can't see him. I can hear him, but I can't see him. The police are stopping everybody. Unc comes up. He says, "You better get out of my way. This is my sister's house." I was like, so he said that again. I can hear him, but I can't see him. All of a sudden, I turn around. And he was like, "It's Hutch. Let him through." So literally, that's how we were raised. So this is good, man. I'm glad to have this on. So
good to be here, guys. Thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Glad we could finally lock Mario down. He's always on the go, always busy doing his thing. So, and again, fellas, said we're here as Haymakers and Submissions. We don't want to keep you long, but want to, get you out there and just talk to Mario, like you said, got him locked down a little bit, see what's going on. And there, put it up first with this going on, just see some of that real quick. Now, real quick, first thing I want to ask Mario, like in our family, it was big basketball, baseball, football. What got you? How did you start wrestling? What got you into wrestling?
Well, my mom signed me up when I was about 4. The idea was because her brother wrestled when they were in high school. So it was like, why not go do it?
I got you. And now, was it first love as soon as you walked in, or was it something that grew on you, or?
Well, I feel like it grew on me, but it was like, I didn't like dislike it, but I wasn't as like, it wasn't as attached to me as like it is now.
Yeah, he was playing football then too. So that was Mike, we grew up, we didn't do this wrestling stuff. That's my wife's side. That's where they get it from, man. That's where they get it.
Not at all. We didn't. I mean, honestly, that was nothing. Wrestling was, and I was a big kid in high school, and I remember the coach at the time. His name was Coach Hutcherson. He used to pull me out of class when he first came to Kiski. Come on, wrestle for me. Man, they got to suck weight. They got to lose weight. I couldn't do it, man. I was like, I couldn't do it. And then it just wasn't, and that's why I was like, what got him in? Because even when I'm down here in Atlanta, I hear, Mario, Greg's sons, both of Mario and Marco, they're wrestling. They're doing wrestling. What got him into wrestling? So I always wanted to ask that to find out what.
I get asked that a lot, Mike. And funny thing is, my wife and I would argue about it whenever she put him in at 4 years old. She put him in, and I'm like, all right, a couple years, he's going to go back to football. He can wrestle for a little bit. Wrestling's good for football. And then he started having success at about 6, 7, 8. And I fell in love with it, realizing, everything that the sport brought. And I seen he loved it. And they started rolling with it, and they kept, they just kept going.
Now with that, real quick, did it come easy to you, Mario, because you were stronger, because you were faster, or how, like, was it, or did you feel like when you started out, man, I don't know anything with these cats, or how did it feel when you first started out? Do you remember? I mean, it was.
Well, it's not like I immediately started out killing everybody. My younger brother, he's started off, he's going crazy, he's been winning a whole bunch. Nice. But as I went on and as I got older and as I grew to the sport more, I feel like I started to get better and understand it. So that's why I feel like I'm getting all that success, because I know how to train. I know how to break down the film. I know how to just compete.
Prepare, yeah. So success didn't come right away for him. A lot of people in our wrestling, in our road of wrestling, they're so good. They're so good. Mario, he was average. He was always tough, hard as nails. He was an average wrestler, but he kept sticking to it, obsessing in it, learning the sport. And then once he hit about 11, turning 12, he took off, and he hasn't lost a state title then, and hasn't lost many matches then actually.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That is true. That I know.
Hey, Mario, this past summer, so you represent your country, United States, in San Salvador, El Salvador, in the Pan Am Championships. What was it like wrestling in another country, representing your USA and winning that Pan Am title?
It was awesome. I liked going overseas and wrestling all the other countries. I liked the atmosphere of it. It was just good to get my foot in the doorstep in a way, because I know that I'm going to be wrestling more international stuff in the future.
Did you find, were you viewed as like the enemy there? Did you get a lot of boos?
Well, they're either rooting for you or
totally against you.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
So there's no in between. Either it was insane in the arena. They didn't like the Americans. They're not cheering for us at first, but then Puerto Rico team, Mexico's going at each other. If we're wrestling a kid from Mexico, they're cheering for USA. Puerto Rico is, and vice versa. So that's kind of how it's happening. And it was wild there. It was interesting.
Now, real quick on that though, when you're there, did you guys stay in your own hotel, or did they have Team USA, like almost like the Olympic Village where the entire team stayed together? How did that work?
Well, we had our own hotel, but you could stay with your parents if you wanted to. I wanted to, because it was an international hotel in a way, and it was weird because it was like in Salvador, it's a real small town, and at the top of the hill in a way, it was real nice up there. It's clean in a way, and where we were at, it was just
it was a little rundown. Yeah. So our hotel, the parents' hotel, was a Hilton. It was nice. The team hotel was down closer to the arena, more in town. They didn't have a sauna. They didn't have a gym in there. So the coaches from USA, if you were cutting weight, if you had to lose some weight, you could go stay with your parents up in the team hotel because we had a sauna in our hotel in the weight room. So the USA coaches were great. Letting that happen. There was about 4 or 5 kids who were able to go stay with parents to help cut weight through the night.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, so the pound per pound high school rankings came out. Okay, and you are the number 3 ranked freshman, not in your county, not in the state, but in the country. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? How do you handle that? And how do you continue to climb in those rankings? Because that's special.
Well, I could appreciate it because I could have been down lower in the rankings, but there's people ahead of me that are my weight. Actually, the kid in front of me is my weight, which I know I could beat him. I know I could take him out, but it's where they put him. And more I just keep winning and succeeding and then the rankings will work out.
Real good.
Man,
good attitude.
We went to, now, of course, I live here in Georgia, but even when I was in high school, there were a lot of guys who were pretty good, we thought, at Kiski, in wrestling, whatever have you. So I am literally getting calls on what he's doing, you know what I mean? And these guys are ex-wrestlers, whatever have you. And we'll get into it a little bit later about the tournament he entered declaring. I'm getting calls about what you have done and what's going on and just whatever have you. So we are at the Olympic wrestling trials at Penn State. His dad and I are texting. Mario, you were trying to cut weight. So you had sent me that picture of him on the bike. Mm-hmm. I didn't even realize these guys, we were talking to these guys, we were in the Pepsi box. And I wish I could remember the other guys' name. He used to wrestle for Penn State, but there were also some guys from Bucks County. And I showed a picture. So I showed the picture of the guy I'm with, Merlaki. We grew up like brothers. And he said, man, he said, and his young son says, that Mario? I said, yeah, he's cutting weight. I said, hey, and then his dad said, well, Hutch, you got to do it. This dude who we're not even talking to said, you know Mario Hutcherson? And it was like, I'll never forget it. And we just looked and was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. He said, man, he's out in there. They start going on. Again, I live down here. So Joe Merlaki's like, dude, you don't understand. Up here, because Merlaki follows all the wrestling, he was like, he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. So, of course, I heard it. You know what I mean? But I didn't know. And, of course, family will tell you family's doing well. But now I'm hearing other people just like, no, he's legit. He's really legit. So I'm like, that really, you know what I mean? So
it's been a crazy year.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm telling you, we're sitting at the Pepsi box, and this dude looks over my phone and is like, you know Mario Hutcherson? And I was like, yeah. And then we started talking about that, whatever. Now, real quick, because I know this is real about Mario, but also I want to ask the dad a question, right? So Mario's wrestling schedule, I mean no disrespect, because I love my alma mater, but you don't get this from just wrestling at Kiski. You don't get that from just wrestling at Kiski.
So luckily, we are blessed because a lot of elite kids, like in Mario's situation, they can't even practice at their high school because they have no one to practice with. Maybe they don't come from a great wrestling program. We're lucky to have Mike. You know how strong of a program Kiski's been for years. To when he's at Kiski, he gets good workouts. He's wrestling with the ex-college kids who are now coaching at Kiski. He has 2 kids at Kiski that are going to wrestle Division I as well that he practices with. And the coaching there is top notch. So it's like the nights we're at Kiski, he gets great work. He's focused on certain things. The night we're at our clubs, he obviously there's some of the best clubs and coaches in the country, actually the world. So he's getting great coaching partners there. So we're lucky right now that anywhere we're really at, he's getting high level coaching, and we're lucky to have a high school that cares about wrestling and produces Division I wrestlers every year, every few years, and have great coaches.
And now with that, like you said, Mar's only 15. He doesn't drive. So how between you and his mom, How's that logistic works? How do you guys do that? What's an average typical week? How getting him there, making sure he's there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So a lot of times, I'm the one taking him to practice. I sit and watch some of his club practices because I didn't wrestle. So when I'm in there, I'm learning as well. I'm listening to lingo from the coaches. And it's crazy because my wife comes home from work. You know, everything my sons do, they're on a meal plan. They have personal strength coaches, nutritionists. So she's automatically putting the meals together. So they'll get a pre-meal before practice on our schedule. We go, then they come home and she's feeding them and, you know, feeding them healthy stuff to keep their weight right and keep them growing at the right weight. So a lot of times I'm taking them and my wife stays home at night and she's doing the cooking and the preparation for the meals for whenever they get home and for the next day. So when they come home from school. Yeah. So we always pre-plan. Yep.
I got you, a team unit. And it's funny you say that because which leads me into my next question. Because like you said, you sit in the stands. And I've been to a couple of well, really only one because I just happened to be up there when he was wrestling. But I noticed when you send me other videos, you sit in the stands. You
asked me that. I remember that.
You sit up in the stands. You're not beside the mat yelling, going crazy, whatever have you in wrestling that. Okay. Now, and I want to ask because of this. Do you think you're that way because you were successful in sports, so you don't need to live vicariously through your son? Because they're not going to put names out there. We know there are dads like that. Yes,
there is.
Because they didn't do it. You know what I mean? Yes. So is that why it's easier for you to sit back, just let him do his thing, make sure he, you know what I mean? What makes it easy for you not to lose your temper, not to get out there and yell and holler like that?
So the only time I kind of go down on the mat is if their coaches aren't there. And I'm not a wrestling coach. I get parents that ask me that all the time. I handle strength conditioning, nutrition, schedule, mindset, everything except for the on the mat wrestling. And I'm smart enough, I would think so, to understand that there's better guys that know more about wrestling for me to let my son go and let them coach them. So I sit up in the stands. I can't help them on the mat. In this sport, I can't go out there and wrestle for you. My wife, you know, she's sitting up in the stands. She was raised in wrestling. So we sit up there and we relax. We don't yell. We don't scream. This sport's already tough enough. So I don't want my sons to have to battle whoever they're wrestling and then have to battle listening to dad screaming on the sidelines or mom screaming. So I just sit back and relax and I'm, you know, just enjoy them on the mat. I try to take it all into perspective. That's all.
I got you. Because like you said, it is rough because we say it all the time here. You can play baseball. You can play football. You don't play wrestling.
No,
you don't play boxing. It's different. You know what I mean? So I get you on that. Now, okay, this is what people were calling me. I mean, multiple calls I got on this one. Mario enters an open college tournament, not a tournament that was just at a college, but it was for college students. You know what I mean? Whatever have you, open, but there was college guys there. What was your thought when he came to you and said, Dad, I want to compete I want to do this and compete as a high school freshman?
So it actually happened a year ago. We were driving home from a middle school tournament in Toledo, Ohio, and we were watching the Clarion Open, which is a strong preseason college wrestling tournament. Michigan's there, Pitt's there, Ohio State, Buffalo. So there's some good teams there. And as we're watching it on the ride home, propped up on the dashboard, and we're, you know, just listening. We know watching some college kids that were at our club, and one of the kids that he trains with was in the bracket. He was a sophomore last year. Bo Bassett was wrestling in the bracket, and Mario just mentioned, I want to wrestle in that next year. So, okay, I didn't, you know, one in ear and out the other. So whenever the registration came time, I literally mentioned it one time, and I said, that Clarion opens in a few weeks. You want to wrestle in it? And he was like, yes, yeah. Thanks for letting me know. Because it just literally popped up when I'm scrolling wrestling stuff, sent me a reminder, and he said he wanted to do it. I registered him, and we just went. We went to get some good quality matches and to get ready for the high school season. And it just so happens he kept winning.
Now going in, you know you want to do your best, but Mario, did you have any expectation where you thought you would finish? I know you wanted to do your best and give it all, but did you have any expectation on how well you do?
Well, I was going to win it, obviously, but I was taking it one match at a time and just focusing on one person at a time, because if I knew if I looked down the bracket and I had this guy, I have that guy, then that's when I get caught up short. So I just took it one match at a time, took my time, just going through the bracket.
I got you. So as you walk in, your mind is on, this is a business trip. So you're there on a business trip, but are you even looking at any of the competitors there thinking, I'm 15, these are grown men. Some of these are grown men. You know what I mean? Did that ever go through your mind? Or you're like, yo, I'm here for business. A lot of people might think these are some of the best in God. Man, Mario, you got to deal with them. Or were you thinking, nah, they got to deal with Mario? Like,
I knew that I could trust my training, so I wasn't really like nervous in a way. I knew that I trained my hardest. I trained to my full potential, so there should be nothing I'm really nervous about or should be concerned about.
I got you. Okay. That's good stuff.
Got to be difficult to keep just keep your focus, because you're walking into like Chop said, grown ass men, right? I mean, that's just an intimidating thing, but that's good that you keep your focus like that. But looking at this year now, you're a freshman in high school. Now, Pennsylvania is a hotbed for wrestling. I mean, everyone knows that. So what are your expectations and goals for this year for yourself?
Well, starting off in December, I want to win Powerade. And then moving down the line, Whippeals and eventually states. But there's some little tournaments in there that I would like to get under my resume and start off my freshman year solid.
Now, what's in December? And do you know the dates on that?
Powerade, it's, I believe, 2 or 3 days after Christmas.
Yeah, the Powerade tournament. It's one of the top national high school tournaments in the country in season.
Where is it?
Cannon McMillan High School.
All right, I'll be home for Christmas for that. So that'll be why I'll be home for Christmas.
So speaking of the college thing, one of the things we were doing, we were going to that college tournament to help get ready for Powerade, just to get that grown man feel at the way he wrestles. So that was something we were going there to work on, some stuff that he's working on in the room at the College Open to get ready for Powerade.
I got you. Now, Mario, you're at 174. Is that a natural way for you? Do you have to suck a lot of weight depending on, or are they hard cuts, or is 174 pretty much your walk around weight?
Yeah, I'm right around 174. I might have to cut 2 or 3 pounds, but nothing big. I'm just really focused on wrestling and not having to cut no weight.
I got you. So you're successful on the mat. We know you love wrestling. The hard work, everything you put in. When you're not wrestling, what do you do on your downtime? What do you do when you're kicked back? What do you do for fun other than wrestling?
Well, I'm a big Steeler fan. So I like watching Steeler games. We went to the Steelers versus Giants game a couple weeks ago. That was real fun. I'm a big MMA fan. I like to hunt and fish, do that type of stuff. And that's just all that stuff.
Okay. Now, is that from your mom's side? Because not a lot of us, we didn't do that a whole lot of our side of the family either.
No, they don't either, Mike. They don't either. So a lot of his friends hunt and fish. That's how he actually got into that. One of his good friends, he went hunting with a couple times over the years. So that's how he got into that. Well, I'm actually going with him this year, though. I'm going out to the woods with Mike. Yeah. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you guys going out for what? For buck and deer, big game?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, real quick, Mario, since you said you're in MMA, we're going to get into the UFC we got coming up, but real quick before that, seeing that wrestling is what you do and that you're starting out. Now, we've seen a lot of guys transition, and the rumor is that you'd like to too, once you're done, transition into MMA. Now, is that a rumor? Is that it's down the road because you're a youngin', but is that down the road what you want to do? Go to MMA?
Well, there's a high chance that could happen, but no guarantees, no for sure's, but there's a high chance I could do that. I could try to make an Olympic team for wrestling. It's still up in the air right now.
I got you. Because and when you look at some of the most successful guys, whether it was, and you go back to, and I've been watching a long time, George St. Pierre, Matt Hughes, there was always a saying, if you can't fight on the ground, you can't fight. And even now, when you look at guys from, the Dagestan wrestlers, Khabib, who some people consider the GOAT. And then you have his cousin, Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm trying to think of Makhachev, Hamza Makhachev. Those guys, like when you see when they step into the ring, they're never the underdog. They're never the underdog. So, and like Bo Nickel is also, with the American name, he's the hot one now. So as of right now, as you said, maybe in the future. So you're not really thinking about that. I mean, I know wrestling is what's on your plate now, but you're not really looking forward to that, or ideally you'd really want to go to the Olympics even before you'd consider that.
Well, I would like to fight in the UFC, but it's like it's either that or the Olympics at the end game is as of right now, but there's still no for sure. There's no
I got you. Now, okay, so real quick before we get you guys out of here. This Saturday, UFC 309. We got Jones, Stipe. Who you got?
John Jones, the GOAT.
John Jones. He hasn't lost yet. He hasn't lost, Mike.
He hasn't. He hasn't.
We can't count that one loss. That we can't count that.
No, because there was. I don't even know why they had that rule in there, the 12-6 rule at the time. Anyway, so now on paper he wasn't a better wrestler than Cormier. But he held his own, more than held his own. I don't think Stipe is a better wrestler than Cormier. So, and I got Jones too. Do you have him grounding and pounding? Do you have him knocking him out? And what round you got it in? We like to predict the round here on Haymakers and Submissions.
I'm gonna go with second round, I think. Because I feel like if John can't get him on his feet, he's just gonna take him down.
Yeah.
Beat him up on the ground and submit him.
Me too. Yeah, I think John's better everywhere. He's better everywhere.
He is. Yeah. Jones's toolbox is definitely bigger, definitely deeper than Stipe's. And I like Stipe. He's a great guy, but they're just, and as they say, there's levels to it. Mm-hmm. And they say he might have been the greatest heavyweight champ as they look at it, but Jones is just a different animal. He just is. He's just a different animal. He really is.
And it's not like Stipe is going to be way bigger than John Jones either.
No.
John Jones fights Aspinwall. Aspinwall got 20, 30 pounds on Jones, but Stipe doesn't. So that's something that goes into John's favor.
Yeah, but even Aspinwall, and I understand Aspinwall has been beating everybody else, but I still don't. Levels. Yes, man. Yes. And Stipe, because of the belt that you held, you want to come out, and get back at it. I think that's why they're giving him a fight. And Jones is taking it. You know what I mean? But Jones said, to be honest with you, he's looking at getting a mega fight with Pereira, the 205 champ, which I'd love to see that one. I'd
rather see that than Aspinwall.
Yes, I'd love to see that one because at least Jones will stand up with him for a little bit, but Jones uses those feet. Now I understand Pereira was a kickboxer, he has feet too, but man, Jones, and I understand in fighting anything can happen. Man, it's just his skill set. You got to give him his props. You have to give him his props. So real quick, what do you have do you have anything else, any other tournaments coming up or anything other? Or are you just gearing up ready for the regular wrestling Kiski season?
Yeah, I'm just getting locked in, taking a couple of days off, rest and recover, and get ready to sprint the season, get through it. It's going to be a long, tough season.
Yeah. Now, when you say a long, tough season, is that as well you're looking at the Kiski season with the Kiski to high school guys you're wrestling, or are you considering like the other tournaments you're doing? Or you're still going to give your Kiski opponents respect, saying it'll be a tough season? Yeah,
they're all tough. It's just it's a long high school season.
His season goes from now, and because he wrestles internationally with freestyle and trying to make world teams. So when states are over in March, he has one of the biggest tournaments in the year, the U.S. Open in Vegas, right in April, which he has a transition to freestyle to try to make a world team. So it goes from there. Then if you make a world team, you're training, for worlds all summer, and so it doesn't stop. So actually, like right now in the past week and a half and 2 weeks is like his downtime to rest, recover, stay off the mat, because once this, next week, this week starts with the season, unfortunately he'll get little breaks in between, but unfortunately it goes right into freestyle and trying to make world teams.
I got you. Okay. All right. Fellas, Mario fan, appreciate it so much having you on. Appreciate everything. Appreciate the time. And definitely we want to have you on again. I'm just glad we were able to get you locked down, today finally had you stopped for a little bit long enough. And we would definitely let you know when it's going to be out. It'll be on the Roku channel Friday. It'll be on Twitter tomorrow night. It's on our Roku channel.
YouTube as well.
Yeah, YouTube channel. We'll have it out there. So we'll definitely let you guys know and tag you. But again, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys.
Love the show, guys. Thank you. Love the show.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here. Thanks, man.
Awesome interview. Awesome.
Yeah, I didn't want to put this out there, but cats were calling me. Was like, "Yo, your cousin's whipping everybody's ass." You know, like it's like you get a kid who is in 6th grade. My son's on the honor roll. Everybody's on the honor roll in 6th grade. You know what I mean? So that's what I was looking
at. My
at.
school they weren't, but yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So, and like I said, man, we didn't wrestle back when I was in high school. We didn't wrestle. None of our family did. Basketball and football were our main 2 sports. Baseball a little bit, but it was football and basketball. So when he said his son started wrestling, that was awkward. Now, look, man, we do what we do. Can't get out of here without talking boxing. Got to talk boxing.
We got to talk boxing. Excellent segue, Chops. Let's talk about Keyshawn Davis, man. He made quick work of Gustavo Lemos, and I'll tell you what, I was really disappointed. Lemos didn't make the weight, and they fought anyways. Now I was concerned about that because I'm getting Devin Haney flashbacks right here. Now I don't compare Lemos to Ryan Garcia, but I don't care. He rehydrated up to 155, I believe.
That's 20 pounds. Yes.
Oh yeah, and it's like okay.
And he put on 6 pounds from that morning weigh-in till the evening walking into the actual ring. So he was putting on weight all day. Now. Yeah. Go ahead. Do you say?
Well, to me, it says 2 things. One, you're either not in shape, although he didn't look out of shape, but he was not in shape. I'm sorry. If you can't make weight and you can't even make the rehydration weight, and then you end up ballooning up 20 pounds in 24 hours, I mean, something's not right. And me, I could see that because Davis went downstairs early and often with the jab, and you could see it was buckling him. He immediately was dropping his guard right away to protect his gut. He wasn't able to handle that. And that, to me, that was the fight. I don't know what you saw. That's what I saw. And I was like, not good.
Well, here's the thing, man. You and I were both worried because of the Haney and how that thing goes. 20 pounds is a lot, man. 20 pounds is a lot. If you miss weight by 3 pounds, people will make a note of that. Because you're probably going to balloon up another 7-8, so you could be an extra 8 to 11 pounds by the time he was 20. And you're right, he didn't look out of shape because he was only 155. But now imagine if he'd have been to 135, he'd have been ripped, he'd have looked better. So you're right, he didn't look out of shape for a guy regularly walking the street, but he didn't look tight for somebody who should have been 135.
Great.
Now, I also was worried, right? About the weight. When I started, let me back up a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they say it's disrespectful when you don't make weight?
Yeah.
Then he disrespect or shows lack of whatever by continuing to put weight on. Okay. Like we said, he put weight on. Then I know you were at a disadvantage in reach. We know that. We get that. However, did you see I don't even call him looping. He was just lunging hooks. He was throwing at Davis. Okay, first off, you're 20 pounds heavier, so you're going to be slower. You were using no technique. So you don't make the weight. You don't make the rehydration clause. You put on weight over that. You're 10 pounds over the rehydration clause. You're throwing these lunging, looping, wide hooks, just going for broke. I want to know, was your head in the game at all? Was this ever anything Lemos was taking serious, or was this just something he did for the payday? And you know what I mean? Because I don't know, man.
Wasn't a good look at all.
No.
I agree. It's a disrespect to the sport and to your opponent and to yourself, quite frankly.
Yes, and the knockout was nasty. It was nasty, knocking down. And Davis put in work. Davis did what he was supposed to do.
Yep.
He took the fight. You're in my hometown. He said the fans paid for it. He had a lot of pressure on him being home The fans took it. The guy's 20 pounds overweight. If he's in Vegas, if he's somewhere else, he may not have taken that fight. But at home, he has to. He handled business. He came and did what he was supposed to do with an impressive knockout. Impressive. Second round, Davis looked good. He really looked good, man. He really did. I'll give him that.
I like he immediately went after his opponent's weakness. He knew he came in heavy. He immediately started jabbing downstairs. He immediately was going downstairs. It was
which to me, I thought you would box, get in, get out. Hit it to the head a little bit, get in and get out. Because I didn't know if he wanted to work to try to go to the body, duck down, come down lower, because you also had the height advantage on Lemos. So now you're coming to the body, you're lowering yourself. You are putting yourself right in firing range of one of those hooks, one of his power punches. Because Lemos is a power puncher at 135. So and he throws punches and bunches. So now he's 20 pounds heavier. So Lemos didn't have the gas tank to go to distance. So you figure he was going to try to get it out of there early. So I give Keyshawn tons of credit, tons of credit, taking the fight, putting on a spectacular show, and finishing it the way he's supposed to. I give him mad credit on that, man. Mad, crazy.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's next for him. Other than the guy we're going to talk about next, he's like the number 2 guy for me in terms of future prospects. He is an up and comer. Now it's 12-0.
Yes,
29-1 going in that fight. So he's
I know. And Lemus, no matter who he fought in his other 30 fights, he came to bring it. But I just never seen him look that undisciplined. That's what shook me, that hopping. I don't know, man. I don't know. I knew Lemos could be hit, and he's taking punches because he'll get in there and he'll just start wailing away on you. And if you can stay composed, you can pop him with a jab or retaliation, hook, whatever. But just the way he looked Friday night, I don't know, man. I don't know. The way you fought, it just was disrespectful to your opponent, to the sport, to the entire event, in my opinion.
Yeah, and to your point, in the first round, Lemos was coming in hard and very awkwardly. It reminded me of the schoolyard fight. That's how an untrained, strong fighter will come at you. It's awkward, and you got to be careful of that too.
Yes,
That to me, I don't fight like that, but I do box and train, and it's like that's the awkwardness I don't like, because it's
exactly
like I have to almost abandon my technique just to combat that. And
yes,
trouble.
And you're right. And an awkward fighter is always hard to fight. Right, with an awkward time. And he was a heavy awkward puncher, or I don't want to say wild or awkward, but he threw punches and bunches, and he would get in there. Sometimes a lot of his fights you could fight in a phone booth at 135.
Yeah.
Now he's rehydrated to 155. That was dangerous, man. But you have to give Davis credit. You got to give him all the credit in the world, man. He handled business.
What'd you think of him calling out Tank afterwards?
Oh, man. I'd like to see that one. Now, the question is, Tank will hit him. Tank's going to make weight. Tank's going to come in. Tank's going to live the power. Tank's not going to have that same wildness that Lemos had. He's going to have the same reach advantage on Tank as he had on Lemos. But Garcia had a reach advantage too. You know what I mean? So Tank's at a disadvantage in reach against everybody. So that's going to be nothing new. So I'd like to see it. Let's put it this way. I'd rather see Keyshawn and Tank before Shakur and Tank. Shakur's just not entertaining to me. He isn't. He's a great tactician, but he's just not entertaining to me. So
I don't think Shakur can beat Tank, but Keyshawn Davis. See, Davis. You talked about Garcia. Garcia's a head case. As talented as he is, he makes mistakes mentally, and certainly outside the ring, we see it all the time. We read about it all the time. But in the ring, mistakes get made.
But his power makes up for that in a lot of them. His power makes up.
Very true. It's a good point. But Keyshawn Davis, much more cerebral fighter. I thought that going in, it's validated to me after watching him Friday night. He is a very smart fighter. I appreciate fighters with great skill that are very smart. You can tell. They're not just relying on it. Not saying that a guy like a Deontay Wilder's not a smart fighter, but he's going to rely on that one punch.
Yes, that overhand right. That's it.
Exactly.
That's overhand right. Real quick before we move on to Boots, did you watch Abdullah Mason? Did you get to see that young cat fight? Did you see that one, Abdullah Mason?
I watched, and I agree with you. That first round is like the rest of the year.
Fireworks.
You know what I was thinking of when I saw that.
Yeah, it wasn't that, but it was good. It wasn't that. Now, but I liked what Mason did. Young cat, young fighter, got knocked down twice. Yeah. Still got up and handled business. And that knockout was vicious. That knockout, the way he ended, that was vicious. But I was more impressed, not by how he finished it, because we knew he had power. We knew if he catch somebody young, he could knock somebody out. I was impressed that even if they were flash knockdowns, the first one to me was a flash knockdown. The second one, you could call it a flash knockdown, just his opponent's punch, and I'm looking at the guy, his punch landed before Abdullah Mason's, because Mason was throwing his punch. He just got hit first. And fell, but he got right back up. And that's what impressed me, a young cat who got knocked down twice in where it wasn't his hometown, but he was a fan favorite as well because he was friends with Davis. He didn't panic. He didn't get outside himself. He didn't step outside himself. He did what he had to do. That was impressive by the young man. Impressive.
It's always impressive. Oh, absolutely. It's always impressive to see a fighter that's able to regroup.
Yes.
We'll always remember Diego Corrales for what he did.
Ooh.
We'll remember Marvin Hagler. That's what it reminded me of, the Hagler-Hearns fight. Hagler and Hearns in that first round, Hagler took a beating. He didn't go down; he took a beating.
Yes.
Winning that fight. So that's always impressive. That's the heart of a champion right there. And you got to and also Tim too.
Without question.
Let's talk about Boots, man. He wins by a UD over Karen if I can say it again, Hutcherson.
I know.
Retaining the IBF welterweight championship. Now, this fight was better than the first one because the first one, again,
absolutely,
every judge had Boots sweeping the fight. This one was a lot better. But I got to ask you this. Now, Boots won pretty convincingly. He put Hutcherson down in the fifth round. But up until that fifth round, if I didn't know the sport and I'm listening to DAZN, especially Sergio just like talking like Hutcherson's winning the fight, and it's like
yes, I know. No, he wasn't. But they were saying a lot of the same things I was saying because it was just a complete 180 of the fight we had seen, a complete 180. So now I'm asking myself, just go with me, just embellish me on this. Do you think maybe Kareem, I don't even try to pronounce his last name. Do you think he was, for lack of a better term, in awe or sick or something was going on in the first fight? Because he ran more than he does. He's normally there to bring it. He's a hard guy, a fighter, and he brings it. He didn't do any of that against Boots. So I'm like, what happened that he wasn't even himself that fight? You know what I mean? Because now, again, this fight was a complete 180. But something you had mentioned, how he sent him down in the fifth, and he did. But that to me was veteran move by Kareem, because he knew if I keep standing up, there's a chance I'm going to get hit with a shot and get knocked out. He took that knee on his own. I'll take this 10-8 round because I feel pretty good. And up to that point, he was doing well. It was a tight fight. So he says, I'll take this 10-8 round. Let me get my bearings. Let me gather myself, because he caught me with a shot that hopefully he won't catch me with again. And that did, because that one shot, a left hook, was it from Boots? I'm not really sure. That started the onslaught, and you could see the momentum building. And I think Kareem felt the better. He said, let me take this knee. Let me take the knee. Let me take my standing 8, and then we'll regroup. And he did, and he finished the round strong. He didn't win it, of course, but he finished the round strong. So I was impressed by that. Yeah. Now, what I wasn't impressed with, and I didn't want to call you, I didn't want to reach out to you, because just like you and me, we'll text one word, we'll text one sentence here or there, but we don't like getting into text threads during the fights. We only got a minute. Mm-hmm. I want to get a drink of soda, use the restroom, whatever, so we don't get into it during the fight. but it didn't sit well with me that all his corner, which I think it's his father, kept telling him, get this guy out of here, get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
That's what you and I would tell a fighter at the rec center. That's not what you get from your corner. Wasn't telling him how to cut off angles, wasn't telling him anything. What was your, I know you had to pick that up. What were you thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, we heard it several times, right? And it leads to a fighter taking unnecessary risk to end the fight with fireworks, and then you get caught.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing, and I'm trying to broaden this out here. Chukasan fought him very well. The problem with Chukasan is he doesn't have the power, in my opinion,
because he caught him nice a couple times.
He did, and he was moving laterally very well, and I think that's what got. I think that's why the announcers were just talking him up so much. And I agree, he was fighting a lot better fight. I still had Boots winning 3 of the first 4 rounds, but they were close. I'm not saying he walked him, but they were close. But certainly it was a much better. We already knew it was going to be a better fight at that point than the first one. But yeah, that's terrible. It's not professional advice, to your point. We're talking. It's not professional advice. I mean, it's just you don't need to take unnecessary risk like that. He doesn't need to do that. I agree with you. I mean, it's amazing though. You'll hear that, and then there's times we'll hear corners telling their fighter they're winning the fight when they're clearly not. It's so rare that a trainer or a corner will be straight with their fighter and say, "Look, you guys step up." It happens, but not that often.
But it'd be different if he, even when, like you said you're winning a fight and you're not, you're winning, you're sticking him, you're hitting him, you're moving. Okay, he's not, but those are at least boxing terms. All we're hearing is, get this guy out of here, get this guy out of here. What are you doing? You're messing around. No, you do realize he trained to knock me out just like I trained to knock him out. So it's not that easy just getting that guy out of there. However, though, man, it was telling right after the fight that I noticed. And real quick, notice he took a lot of punishment. Boots did. He got hit more. Might not have been punishment, but he got hit more. Second time against what was his name? Avanesian. In this fight, he took a lot of hit. He took a lot of, I don't want to say punishment, but he got hit a lot more than we've seen him look. However, did you see I don't know how much of the interview, if you watched any of the interview, right after, back in his dressing room, because I watch a lot after, he was like, first off, he said his weight cuts are hard. He's looking to move up to 157. He might have to move up to 157, but he also said, when they talk about you're getting hit, he said, give me better opponents. Like, if there are better opponents and he's worried about them, he knows they can hit, maybe his defense will be a little better. If that's what you meant, if that's what you're saying, okay, but you've been in this long enough to know if when that leather's flying, anybody can get caught. Your defense should always be on par. Always be on par. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. That struck me. But now, after this fight, if he'd have knocked him out or just punished him and they had the TKO stop it, maybe you make it. I'll go up to 154. Or I'll stay at 147. I can get that Crawford fight. Nobody's gonna pay. He's not getting that now, man. I can't see it. I can't see Boots and Crawford. Not after this performance. What's in it for Boots? Or excuse me, what's in it for Crawford at this rate? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and this is what
I still like Boots.
Oh, I love him. I think I still think he's one of the best, most skilled offensive fighters in boxing. I think he's very good at switting his stance. I do. I mean, I think it's funny. It almost seems like it's not so much tactical as much as he's just gonna, and sometimes it's every other round. I mean, he just it up.
But I mean, he said it. Get me better opponents. Because he's like, with your defense, you got hit a little bit more. We need to see their old defense from you. And he said, get me better opponents. Almost like, I'm not training as much on defense. These guys you've been putting in front of me, they're not going to knock me out. They can't hurt me. And at the end of the day, I'm always going to outpoint them. But you never know with judges. You got an Adelaide Birds. You know how some of these judges are. You end up giving losing rounds. So that I didn't like, but the skill set is there. You know he's still nice, but I'm interested to see where he goes from this because he's still relatively young. What is he, 29, 30? I don't think he's that old.
No.
So we definitely have a lot more in store from him. So I'm interested to see what he's 27. So I'm interested to see where this goes. And he's got a lot of boxing left in him. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
And I don't want to. I don't like hearing that though, because from what he's saying, because number one, bad habits can creep in real quick. I mean, if you can get the guy out, then get him out.
Yes, but don't force it.
Don't force it.
And they said, and that was something they had said in the first 2 or 3 rounds, that he was going to look for the knockout, but he wasn't going to force it. Then his coach is telling him, get this guy out of here. Now you're starting to force it. You know what I mean? You didn't work it, and it just never materialized. And I don't think Kareem was in trouble when he went to a knee. Other than that, was he in trouble at all? Any else throughout the fight?
Not really. No, I mean,
it wasn't close, but he wasn't in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But again, I'm still a Boots fan, and maybe let's see if he'll go back to the old Boots, where the defense is on point, this, that, and whatever. If he moves up to 154, or they start bringing him the top guys in 147. The way he made it sound is though he's having hard weight cuts to get to 147. So I don't know how much we'll even see him at 147. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, if he's talking and he's struggling already, then it makes sense to put the 154. And
at 27, if he's bigger, he's got to go bigger. He's got to.
I wouldn't mind him. I mean, this would be it would be a big name fight, and it would be a chance for this guy to get his name back out there as Charlo.
Charlo, I got you. Yeah. Charlo. Yeah, Charlo. And I don't know why I'm not big on. I give him all the respect as in his skill set. But if you tell me Boots is fighting, want to see that. Inoue's fighting, want to see that. Keyshawn Davis fighting, want to see that. But when you tell me Charlo's fighting, not really. I'll watch it, but I'm not. Yo, what time's the ring walk? I'm not looking forward to that one. I don't know why that is to me with the Charlo brothers, but I know that.
See him.
I'm sorry.
3 years ago, I was wanting to see him.
Yes, yeah. But I'm just not like that anymore, man. So we'll see. Real quick, man. Before we finish off with Tyson and Paul. Did you see or hear the comments in an interview that we had talked about off screen that Crawford made about Tank, where he's willing to stay at 154 if Tank wanted to come up, or stay at 147 if Tank wanted to come up, But then he made the great point. But what's in it for me? If I beat him, you're going to say I beat up a smaller guy because Tank's only 5'5", so now he moves up to 147. He said, or if I beat him, you're going to say he was a little guy that shouldn't have been in that weight class anyway. Personally, I'm in 100% agreement with Crawford. I am. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
So, yeah, you were cutting out a little bit. You agree with him?
Without question. Yeah, I absolutely agree with him. I agree with Crawford because he said if I fight him, he comes up from 135 to 147, and he's a little guy because he's only 5'5". So people are going to say I just beat up on a littler guy who came up from 147. You know what I mean? There's really nothing in it for Crawford, and I agree with him when he was saying it. What do you think about that?
At face value, I would agree, but here's the difference. Tank Davis is the most. Those two boxers right there are two of the most talked about fighters in the sport right now. You go on social media on any given day at any given time of the day, and you're going to see a Tank Davis or Bud Crawford post of some kind, wondering who they're going to fight. Well, if they fight each other, I mean, honestly, I get what Crawford's saying, but on the flip side, Tank Davis is considered one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, and so is Bud. If he beats him, number one, I don't know how many millions they're each going to get from it. It's going to be a lot, and that's I'm going to pay to see. Yeah, and it's probably $85, $90 pay-per-view. Yeah, they're both great fighters. They're two of the best fighters around, and I mean, I don't think if he knocks him out, great. I mean, gets him out.
Okay, let me ask you this, and think for 2-3 seconds before you answer.
Okay,
if Tank moves up at 147, 154, and fights Errol Spence, Say he fights Errol Spence, okay? He fights Errol Spence.
Okay.
Errol Spence wins. Or he moves up and he fights Bud Crawford. Do you think Bud will get the same respect in that win that Errol Spence will get?
That's an interesting question. It's public perception because Ennis is.
I know.
Spence is coming from another 180 side of this. He's coming off an embarrassing loss, and they further embarrassed themselves with the litigation threats against Garcia. And
Errol Spence, not hate.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Spence got his ass kicked by
yes,
Earl,
yes,
and he didn't look right in that fight.
Not at all.
So when Spence would gain a hell of a lot more by beating a Tank. If Tank beats Spence, it's still a feather in his cap, dude. Because
yes,
that's a big time fighter. That's a champion.
Here's what led me to ask you that, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know Crawford was getting ducked for years.
Oh yeah.
So he was never getting his just due. So now he stepped up and fought. He fought Errol Spence. I can't think of the other dude he fought.
Sean Porter.
Yeah, Porter. But the one, I don't know if he was
too.
Armenian or where I can't think of the other guy's name. He fought. He didn't knock him out, but he did end up beating him. So now people are saying, all right, yeah, Bud. But now Bud is always 36, 37, maybe 38. Now he can only take the huge paydays. He can't afford to fight big names that might be moving up. He's got to move up to fight big names to get the purses, try to make up for some of the purses he's missed out on so long ago. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I don't know, but I agree with Crawford. I don't see much in it, but you got to fight who's out there where you can make the money, man. You got to do it.
I mean, if it's Tank or if it's Canelo, I'm cool with it. I
mean, we're gonna watch either way. But I like Bud, so I don't want to see Bud done wrong and get criticized if he beats a guy or you beat a ballooned up 135. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And 12 pounds is a lot, man. 12 pounds is a lot. It's a lot. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
We'll see how it goes. We'll definitely see how it goes.
All right. There's people calling this the biggest pay-per-view fight in history. There's people calling this just the greatest thing in the world. Chops, what's your take on this? Iron Mike Tyson at age 58 taking on Jake Paul with 14 ounces.
31 years his senior. 31 years his junior. Junior. Okay. First off, reports are out there. Paul's going to make 40 mil. Tyson's making 20.
Yeah.
Do you realize that is more than Canelo and Crawford would make? Real fighters. If Canelo and Crawford were to bang, that purse right there is bigger than what that's what bothers me about what we become as a society. This is what people are paying to see. This is what people are paying to see. Fellas, but here's also the thing. It's fought in Texas. Texas is the only place that would sanction this. A lot of people don't even look at Texas and what they do, the American boxing, as a real organization. They're using 14-ounce gloves rather than the 12, which will mean less punch power and cover more air, so there's not as much damage.
Yep.
2-minute rounds compared to 3-minute rounds. That already lets me know that you guys know this 50-year-old man should not be in there. You're 58 years old, shouldn't be in there. Again, there's a reason they have senior 50 and above golf league. They don't have senior 50 and above boxing league. It just gets on my nerves, man. I have Netflix, so I'll watch it because I don't have to pay for it, but I would not be paying for this. No, would not be paying for this.
And once again, we agree. You know what? I get people say, well, Drew, Jake Paul's people are watching boxing because of Jake Paul. And that's great. You know what? And I don't give a damn because I'm going to watch boxing no matter what. So as a boxing fan, I don't care. But don't call this the biggest boxing match in history. Get out of here. I mean,
here's the thing.
McGregor was bigger than this.
Yes. The next time someone says that to you, ask them to name 5 other fighters. Doesn't matter the weight class. Ask them to name 5 other fighters. And if that case, or ask them, how much what weight class is Inoue? What weight class is Benavidez? big names that they should know. Yeah. They're watching Jake Paul. They're not watching boxing. You know what I mean? And that just would, I hate that, man. It just,
I equate it to, people watch the Super Bowl because of the commercials.
Yes.
People watch football right now because they want to see Taylor Swift in the press box or in the suite for Travis Kelce's Kansas City Chiefs games. I don't care. That's great, but it's got to be about the sport still.
You don't call yourself a football fan if you're watching because Taylor Swift is there.
Yeah, I mean, you can have all kinds of sideshows going on, but at the end of the day, I want to see what's going on in the gridiron. I want to see what's going on in the ring or squared circle, whatever we're looking at.
Yes. And let me ask you something real quick before we get out of here.
Yeah.
We've seen Tyson hit the mitts, seen him hit the bag. He still looks good for 58. Hell, for 28 hitting a bag.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen him sparring any rounds? Have you seen any video footage of him sparring?
No, and I hearken back to the Rocky Balboa movie. When Duke sat Rocky down in the gym, he said, "You're too old for that. We just got to build hurt and bombs. We got to build hurt and bombs because you're too old and brittle to be sparring."
But here's the thing, and I'm glad you referenced a movie.
Yeah.
Because you, like I said, you may not be at that level. We're not at that level, but we put the headgear on, or we go. Hitting the bag is completely different than when someone's throwing back at you.
Oh, yeah.
That's what worries. You know what I mean? That's what worries me. Does Tyson, I know he's got the natural movement when no punches are coming back. I just want to see if he can continue to keep his head on that pendulum off the line when punches are coming back. Now, to me, Jake Paul has nothing. He has no skill set that should be able to mess with Tyson. However, Anthony Pettis beat Roy Jones Jr. in a boxing match.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Jones they're just older now. They can't do it like they used to, and youth was served.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Youth was served. And again, Jake Paul has one fight against a legitimate boxer that was Tyson Fury's younger brother, and he lost. He lost. That just, to me, man, and this is a 2-minute fight, 8 rounds, bigger gloves. That already lets me know Texas, you're the only one that was sanctioned this, which means it's going on their records. It's not an exhibition. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So let's see what happens, right? I mean, let's see what happens.
Well, I'll tune in because I don't, like I said, I got Netflix. I don't have to watch it, so I'll definitely tune in.
Well, we want to thank Mario and Greg Hutcherson again for joining us. Good luck to Mario, and hopefully in about 4 or 5 years, I'm going to say I interviewed that guy.
Yeah, man.
I've got it. It's on video, and we've got it, man.
Absolutely.
He's a phenom, and I love his attitude, man. He's got his head on straight. You can tell. So,
and that's what. And like I said, I go home, family and friends. They'll say he's such a reserved, well-behaved kid. But as soon as he gets on the mat, it's like the old movie, Unleash Hell. You know what I mean? He unleash hell. When it is a movie, when they tell him go, it's like a light flips and he's just there. Either he's going out on his shield. There is no boring Mario Hutcherson wrestling match.
I love it. Well, thanks, Chops. This has been awesome. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, on our Twitter X account. You can follow us there. And we're also on the Roku channel at ESEN Network. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Talk to you next week. Take care. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN Network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HaySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.